One. Check. Prophet Maduti. Check microphone. 1, 2, 1, 2. 1. Check.
Deep Good afternoon, all. My name is Wendell Daniel. Good afternoon.
For it is they that make these things prepare to pour libation, we honor the Elders Presidium sitting in our midst. Let's hail them, please. Let's hail them. My elders, permission to continue. Give thanks.
Yes, say it. Hold on. Say that. Drum was low, very low. While I'm pouring, keep it at that pace there, yeah. We give honor and thanks unto those who came before us. We ain't gonna plant everywhere.
No. See the ground there? There's a plant there. Is that real though?
I want to give thanks unto all of those who took the time out to come today. We are rising up every time. This, the 10th cycle of the annual African Emancipation Day, Reparation March and Groundings. In honor of those that made sacrifices so that we can dare today. We honor them. Permission from my elders to continue. Before poor libation, there's some things the Spirit want me to tell you. We have lost our way, African people. We are like children running in a maze and don't know how to find the exit. And the reason why we have lost our way is because we have chosen to ignore that which we have been taught. Whole time people say, and I wanna finish the sentence. If you don't lie down with dog, and we've been laying down with dogs, and we're full of flea. I went to a funeral. In fact, I went to 2 funerals yesterday. In the last strong, I've been to 4 funerals. Beloved people, legends that we don't even know about. And at one of those funerals, there was, I would say, 100 times more people there than here. We come out to honor our dead, those who's gone on to the ancestors. But when we need to come out for the living, we're nowhere to be seen. We don't do this for gratitude, for adulation, for notoriety. We do this for the future of our children. And even though they may not know it's for them, it is for them. So in honoring our ancestors, we honor the future. Because in traditional African culture, children are the ancestors' return. So when we pour libation, venerating our ancestors, we are rising up our future. We are asking them to send the ones to make the change that we so desperately need. Reparations is a must. I want to say that. Reparations is a must. Again, come on. Reparations is a must. I want to rise up the March Committee. I want to rise them up for their steadfast determination to continue this. I want to rise up the Stop the Maangamizi campaign. I want to rise up galaxyafiwe.net. I want to rise up the independent African institutions of learning. These institutions is what keeps the name of our people alive. We gather here not out of hate, but out of love for our people. The desire for Umoja unity. That is why we gather here. And in the midst of all of us, our ancestors are here. There are many that marched with us over the decade that are not physically here with us no more. They are now ancestors. And we're going to honor them too. We have guests who are flew in from thousands of miles away to be with us. And we give thanks unto that. Them say, call how many? Chosen a few. So, to all the stallholders, to all the frenemies who's amongst us, water is a giver of life. We all come through water in our mother's womb. We all come through water. No creature on this planet can survive without water. From the most ugliest to the most prettiest, the wicked, the humble, the good, the indifferent. Water is the giver of life. Any drink you drink of water. You need water to make the sperm go to the egg. You need water for all that fetus. Water is the giver of life. Taste not and show. But you also need the earth to sustain the seed of life. The plants, the trees, the fruits, the grown food, the maize cannot grow without the earth. Gave. The nature gave. And so we pour water into the earth to give hands to life. We do before creating force of the universe, omnipotent being that which is greater than ourselves, was many names. Many of us call him Olodumare, Unkulukulu, Kwame Blafashe, Mungu, Oniyeme, Odamfo, Mawe, Chembe, Ama, Allah, Jah, Amen Ra, Ashe. Anytime when you hear me say Nsa, when you say Nsa, we're asking the ancestors to dream. Mundubafo, ancestors who fought the enemies of Mama Africa for the last 6 millenniums, who fought to sustain African culture, mores, principles, desires. We say unto you, Nsa, Mundubafo, ancestors that when they were taken into captivity did not forget where they came from, never forgot their principles and their culture, never forgot what they call the creating force of the universe. Those ancestors that escaped and set up their own colonies, to those who could not escape, to those who died trying to escape, to those who chose not to escape so others could escape, and to those that when they escaped never forgot who was left behind and came back to liberate them, rise them up and say, Nsa! The ancestors then, who wrote our stories down on stones, put them in papyrus and scrolls, wrote them in books, on walls, and temples. Those ancestors who put them in video and audio so that we would never forget who we are, where we come from, how we find ourselves where we're dead, how we survived in this terrain of wickedness, where we made mistakes, where we have to make corrections, where we're coming from, where we are, and where we need to go. We rise them up and we say, Nsa! Mudubafo to our elders, those elders that traveled here in the 40s, 50s, and 60s in this your country. Those the elders that come here when it was grey, wet, cold, and dirty. Those elders that knew that they never want to go outside and go and toilet. They put toilet in a house. Those elders that never begged, borrow. Those elders that did susu, partner. Those elders that fought the enemies even though we were invited here. Some of them names is on them Tekkens right over there. we call upon their spirits. Some of them are gone, some of them are still here with them. We rise you up. We say, Mandasi, Pa! A good way for your sacrifices. And so, I'm going to do a phone. Those of you who've never forgotten. Our historians. Our mothers and fathers and friends, our extended family, who come here today to remember. Those who forget is bound to continue to make the mistakes of yesterday. Those who remember will never ever make those mistakes again. To my elders to my right, I honor you. You are truly the vanguards of the ancestors' memory. And I pay homage unto you and say, Nsa! Muduba fo baba me Cedric. Muduba fo Ebony Randa. Muduba fo Iyame Big Mommy. Muduba fo baba me Big Daddy. Muduba fo awo baba babawa. Nsa. I just pay homage unto my direct lineage. Because without those two gods, I would not be here today. So the last sip of water will be given unto each of you and your direct lineage Africans. So when I say Muduba Fum, I wanted to call out your personal ancestors. Muduba Fum! I never hear no Muduba Fum! Muduba Fum! Muduba Fum! Muduba Fum! Muduba Fum! We say unto them, Nsa! Last but not least, a big Muduba Fum to our great ancestors, the names we all are familiar with. Muduba Fum, Marcus Mosiah, Gavin, Nsa! Muduba Fum, His Imperial Majesty Haile Selassie I First. Yeah! Nsa! Muduba Fum, Omawale, Malcolm X, Nsa! Muduba Fum, Sojourner Truth, Nsa! Muduba Fum, Harriet Tubman, Nsa! Muduba Fum, Queen Nzinga, Nsa! Patrice Lumumba, Nsa! Thomas Sankara, Nsa! Mama Winnie Mandela, Nsa! The last Muduba Fum goes out to Ono. You did not have to come. You could have been many places that many of our people are today. But you came. And with you, millions of ancestors are behind you. Because if you had not come, your ancestors would not have come. So when we march, we be marching with millions of our ancestors. And to you, my African family, I say to Dukwe Madasi Pa, Asante Sana, and Sa! The official Emancipation Day Reparation March Groundings is now open. Put your right fist in the air. And so we pledge. I can't hear you now. We pledge to honor, obey, pour libation, and venerate the memory of our ancestors until the day we become ancestors. Ashe! 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 We're going to put you over to the host for the day. I put you over to my sister Jendai Sawa, who come all the way from Brixton. We have to rise her up, give her an African. Speak the speak, talk the talk, but we don't walk the walk. We have a special guest all the way from the United States of America. You probably hear him on GalaxyAfriWay.net. He tells you the white man is the devil. Our brother Geb is in the house. Give him an African hand. To my right are nanas and elders who have held the culture alive long before me did go upon this road here. These are our legends. My elders, we want to honor you because enough people are honor me and Marcus Garvey, but me never meet him yet. Love him as I do. In Zinga, Malcolm, I met Dr. Ben. I met Ishaka Musa Barashango. But if it wasn't for these elders here, I probably would have never met them. Because they kept the Pan-Africanist story alive. I want you to stand, my elders. And I want us to give them a big African Muduba Fo. Muduba Fo! Get it! We rise up people who we've never met in life. But the people who've been doing the work on the ground continuously. Strong in, strong out, day in, day out. Cycle in, cycle out. We don't honor them. So I want us to give a big, massive honor unto the March Committee and the Stop the Maangamizi campaign. Mudubafu, yele! Last but not least, I want us to give a big Mudubafu onto a station that allows us to promote our culture products, that allows us to promote our events, not asking for a dime. So if you have donations for that station, galaxy@fiwi.net, you can give it in the 10-2 over there. And we want to give them a big, all the presenters and Galaxy, from the management to the presenters, we want to give them a massive Mudubafu. Mudubafu! My queen is rushing me, but the spirit is talking to me. They're telling me I have to mention some people.
When you march, you can't talk.
The last I have to mention, that we have our spiritual and herbal healers in and amongst us. Those people was taking up the time to learn about the herbs to heal our body. And they're amongst us today. Alkaline, big up yourself. We want to rise up all our herbalists and spiritual healers and give them a big Mudubafu! Yele! Anna so put you over to Queen Empress Jendai Sawa. Adobo. Santo Sawa.
Greetings, elders, brothers and sisters, families, agents and skeptics. You are all here. We see you. And the acknowledgement of our elders and our ancestors in the ancestral realm and in Presidium here has taken place. And I just need to start by thanking each and every one. As Prophet says, you didn't have to be here. Some of us rise up from 6 o'clock, hit the M4 or the M5, whatever. We reach here because it's important. Because if you look behind us, this is one of the banners that we always start our march with. And it says, liberty or death. Taken from the inspiration and the prayers and the wisdom of the Haiti Revolution. And this is why you see it in 2 languages. Because actually that is what is at stake here. It's liberty or death. Not diversity, not equality, and not inclusion. Liberty or death. So one of the things we have to ensure is that we are bringing through those who are going to share and take up the battle under our stewardship, with our guidance and with their energy. So in a moment, I will introduce you to our young co-hosts for today. Because some of you would have seen the information we have been putting out. And actually, the African Emancipation Day Reparations March Committee and the Stop the Maangamizi Genocide, Ecocide campaign have been in a partnership since 2015. And last year and this year we are joined by the Global African Reparations Forum of London as key and core partner organizers. We also have Aya African Learning, a young African people-led learning entity that is spreading the message about the need to build, as you see behind me, Maatubuntuman in Ubuntudunia. Because we make no apology for expressing our objectives, our destination in our own language. So when we talk about Maatubuntuman, we are talking about a future repaired nation. And so, there will still, and there will always be, an African diaspora. And those who identify and wish to be part of a community, African community, seeking national self-determination, will be part of a Maatubuntujamaa UK. So you have Maatubuntujamaas in Abiyala in the Americas. You have Maatubuntujamaas in other parts of Europe that we are linking with. The fifth organizing structure, which you'll hear more about later on, is the African Connections Consortium from Bristol. And Bristol are embarking on a major institutional initiative called Zenzele Village, which you will hear about. So, today, we talk about 10 years, but it's been 10 years, but not just marching for 10 years. We're marching this year because we've listened to those who wish to march, and we've included it this year, but it will not be the case going forward necessarily. Because we have had to, since 2020, shift from protest politics and external facing activities, although we still are seeking signatures for the Stop the Maangamizi Genocide Ecocide petition. And what that calls for. Raise your hand if you've read that petition. Not many. It's a very important document to read on change.org. Because we have to have a destination with this. We can't just talk about reparations now. We have to talk about reparations how and get to work. And that includes building up our young people to play their part under our stewardship. We've shifted from marching because there's a lot of internal work to do in our community. And this is why we have reframed these gatherings as a Pan-African Reparations Rebellion groundings since 2020. Emancipation is not part of it because that hasn't happened yet. Not true. Emancipation has not happened yet.
No!
Okay. All right. Are you with me? So don't be celebrating something when not happened yet. That no work. So we need to develop the operational unity in order for us to build power. To contest power. Talking amongst ourselves will only do so much. It is through contesting the power structures out there that we build Maatubuntuman and come together as Maatubuntujamaa, part of that community in the UK. So this repaired nation that we refer to as Maatubuntuman, see it behind me, it cannot be an oasis, as the world doesn't function like that. which is why Ubuntu is a term that recognizes that humanity, we are all connected. We are people through other people. So we talk about building Maatubuntuman in Ubuntudunia, and that's a world of global justice. Otherwise, we'll be in a situation where we have to be defending ourselves 24/7 because of the savagery and the licentious behavior of the enemy out there who have not taken any steps to repair themselves because they need healing too. So Ubuntudunia is that worlds of global justice that we seek. So as we stand here today, 10 years on, we know that there's still a great need for education about reparations. And we're still learning and testing various reparatory justice strategies and tactics. You will hear more about those when other people ground with us later on, and Sister Esther Stanford Jose will be speaking on behalf of the structures that she represents in this international social movement for African reparations. So we will hear from them later, because to know and understand the achievements and know that this day is linked to another 364, it must stop after a day. You do not just go home and tell people how good it was. You go home and you say, where am I going to put my energy to make sure that I am part of this movement and I am contributing to our nation building efforts. I am contributing to our power building efforts. That has to be the way forward. So all these eco cottages, the organizers tent there with information. Talk to us about how you can get involved. We're all on this journey, and the International Social Movement for African Reparations has many constituents. And we have different ideas and approaches. It's for you to get behind what you consider to be the best strategy and support that. It doesn't mean we are competing with each other. It means we have different views on what the strategy and the destination is. We say sovereignty, African sovereignty, the restoration of African sovereignty, the building of Maatubuntuman in Ubuntudunia is our destination. And so we must build our connection to our power base on Mama Africa. One of the issues that we have is if we ask 10 different people right now, what does a repaired people, what does a repaired nation look like? What should we put in place to ensure guarantees of non-repetition of the harms meted out against us for over 1,500 years? What are we going to do to practically stop the Maangamizi? You see, some of us are about the here and now. Some of us are planning transgenerationally across the world. The Stop the Maangamizi campaign is active in 4 continents across the world, and this cannot just be about Africans in the UK. Africa has to be the core and the foundation of Maatubuntuman that we must all relate to, regardless of where we are and where our families are. We must do what we can to insulate ourselves as we move forward in this system of global white domination. Some of us would like to pretend it doesn't exist. but they can cut off your water, they can remove your picnic from the house, right? They can lock you up indefinitely, all sorts of something they can do because we are not a group acting collectively in resistance. So, this system, and some of you would know, is also trying to capture the narrative of the African reparations movement. You will see certain bodies coming up and taking space, and you will see how our neo-colonial puppet leaders in the Caribbean are aiding and abetting these people who think they can decide for us, who think they should tell us what reparations look like for us. Well, we define our reality, and we have no intention of sitting around their table because they need to come to the table of us and talk about how you're going to relinquish your unjust enrichment and your ill-gotten gains so that we can implement our plan, our Pempanzie Mpango of community self-repair. So this has to be a core strategy going forward. We can't just be dealing with slogans when our own people are complicit in elevating these people who call themselves heirs of slavery and the like. They do not speak for us. CARICOM do not speak for us. And I know there are divergent views on the role of CARICOM. But we say education is preparation for reparations, and we need to critically analyze the strategies and tactics of those neo-colonial Caribbean nations. So we have spent many years on social media and websites suggesting to our people how they can contribute. Those websites, stopthemaangamizi.com, reparationsmarch.org, also on social media, still stand. Time is running out for us. Our generations, and Prophet Kwaku said this, are becoming more lost and confused by Eurocentric agendas that have distracted us and misdirected us. We also spend too much time criticizing and picking holes in each other. If it's constructive, that's okay. But we spend so much time pointing a finger at each other and don't even have a one nickel spine to talk to the white man about what he needs to do and relinquish for us. So direct your energy to contesting power. And we contest power after we build power. So my plea for you today, brothers and sisters, elders, families, is to hear what's being said in the groundings. We're having conversations with people today because we want to draw out the different reparation strategies according to the 10 areas of people activity, whether it be media, law, entertainment, education. We need strategy and we need policy around all of these areas. And then we go away and make our contribution the other 364 days of the year. My last plea, as a major campaign, the Stop the Maangamizi We Charge Genocide Ecocide campaign needs your support. So I would ask you to go to the organizer's tent and give generously when we are marching and when you are walking about and you see anyone with the yellow buckets, please do give generously. Because we are in a rebellion here. There are risks we take being here. The police have already told and lettered all the businesses in the area to tell them we are not authorized here today. So we have the usual fighting for space. We are occupying in rebellion. But at least they recognize that now. And we have been doing this. Can we stop paying them higher fee? Like 4 years now. We stopped paying them. We just said we're coming. And we're going to take up space. And this is part of our rebellion. And at some times, we're going to hold the road. So everybody here needs to understand, even as a stall holder, you're at your own risk. The police come in previous years, they threaten off the sound system, them stop the toilet from coming on, all sorts of something them do, because we are in rebellion. That's why we need you to hold the space, you to pick up the phone and tell your family to join you right now, before we hit the road. We're waiting for a generator so that we can front our march properly. So I ask you for your patience. And in the meantime, I'm going to introduce our two co-hosts today, representing the Global African Reparations Forum of London, and Aya African Learning. Aya is the fern, the Adingwa symbol, which is a symbol of defiance, if you didn't know. So Aya African Learning is a very, very apt name. So can I ask Brother Komina, Amakwando, Tanita, to make your way to the stage, please. And can we please give them support, encouragement, and a listening ear? Because these young people have a message to share with you. Let's hear them up, please.
Greetings, family. Can you hear me? I'm going to say it again. Greetings, family. Greetings. All right. Firstly, I want to give a big thanks. Going to be okay. A big thanks for everyone that's come out today. And it's important that we start this message by pointing out that today is a historic day. Historic not just because we all came out, but because this is the 10th Pan-African Reparations Rebellion groundings happening in London, United Kingdom, in Windrush, Brixton. And it's historic because the time that we're in this moment in history, calls for African people, amongst other people, to come together and show that we know how to be united and we can stand together for our own power. This moment that we're in history, calls for us to show each other that we know how to build power together. Because it's been more than clear that the establishment is now set on a path of genocide and ecocide that even your university professors, your teachers, your scientists, your governments around the world are having to talk about. And for that reason, we're honoured to share this time and space with you for today, for the 10th Pan-African Reparations Rebellion groundings, as an educational space for us to learn together. So when you see this platform, it's not about us telling you and filling you with information. It's about us entering the spirit of our ancestors to hear the truth of the time that we're in. So the only thing I invite you to do over the course of today is when you hear truth, When you hear something that resonates with you, say the words Ashe, and let that spirit welcome your bones and tell you the truth of what the matter is. When you hear something that is truthful to you, take that with you and inform the people around you about what that means. When you hear something that's truth to you, act on it. Because there is no point at this moment in time for us to come together and share nice words to each other if it's not about what are we prepared to do to get ourselves out of this mess that we find ourselves in. And some of us are prepared to tell the truth that we are in a mess. If you ask any young people about their realities right now in this country, before we even touch the wider world situation, they will tell you that it's a mess. And for that reason, we as young people, working with the eldership of the March Committee, with the Elders Presidium, and the other organizations of the African Emancipation Day Reparations March, are here to learn together and share the point of view that we think we have about the fact that there is a future. There is a future for African people. We will overcome. And even if it's not yet a guru in this United Kingdom, the struggle will go on and we will overcome. And these don't have to be nice words. These have to be a day full of groundings where we're going to plan together and talk about the practical actions that many of you are already taking in defense of our people's rights as a collective people. So I'd like to introduce you. My name is Brother Kobana. I'm a Kwando. And I'd like to introduce my wonderful family, Tanita, who is also the Coordinator General of our African Learning Community, which was founded last year as a Pan-African Reparations Education and Training Institute, so that we can train people within our community to enter into community service and define education by how we empower our communities to do for ourselves. Because that is the message of the future and that is the message of the time. So I'd like to heal up Tinita of our African Learning Community.
Greetings, family. Can everyone hear me okay? Yeah? Okay, blessings. And like Brother Kobana has just said, this is a historic occasion that we are here today because our people are on a forward march everywhere. When we look at what's happening in West Africa right now, it's a historic time for us to be here gathering and understand that we don't just represent us few people here in the UK as Africans, we represent the millions of Africans across the world who are fighting to rebuild African sovereignty. So I want you all to engage in the learning process that we are undertaking today, to reason with us, to learn with us, and to see today as your first step, if not many, many, many steps in our commitment to our peoples globally. Thank you.
Alright, so for everyone to be very, very clear about how today is going to go, there is a running order of today. As Auntie Jendai shared, we have been called once again to return to march. Now, some people want to talk about the fact that marching might not be the best use of our energy right now. We have to talk it through. But today, the reason why we have to march, as Tanisha has just said, is because anywhere you look at African peoples around the world, anywhere you look, if you look in Niger right now, anyone see the news in Niger? Hands up if you know what I'm talking about if I say anyone seen the news in Niger? Anyone have any idea about what's happening in Burkina Faso right now? Do people know what's happening in Mali right now? Well, in which case then we probably don't have to talk too much. Tunisia right now. Haiti right now. If you're aware of this news, then you should be more than fired up to occupy this space today as an act of rebellion. And we say rebellion because we as African people do not have to ask permission to exercise our right to self-determination. But they don't teach that right in your education system or this miseducation system. So many of us don't know that we have the right in international law to break free from foreign domination, which is understood in international law and is being exercised by millions of people around the world to shut down the crime scenes in their communities. And we have those crime scenes in our communities here. They occupy our community spaces. They feed us trash in our community spaces. They pimp us out in our community spaces. They miseducate us in our community spaces. But because we don't come together in unity, we are yet to have the resources to liberate ourselves, liberate our minds, liberate our spirits, and liberate the future generations to come that are coming after us. Because that is who today is about. It's not about any of your egos today. We've got enough ego in our movement. We've got enough ego in our community. And that ego, there's nothing Ubuntu about that ego. Because that wasn't born in the African spirit until it was beaten out of us and we're now confused. So when we talk about ego and we talk about us sharing today, let's be very clear that this isn't about any single one individual. This is about the many, many generations that have to inherit an earth that will actually be inhabitable. And for that earth to be inhabitable, we have to act like this is an emergency. Because it's an emergency. For that reason, we will be marching today. And we'll be marching to one of those Maangamizi crime scenes that is more than apparent in this country. And just before I go on, we're going to use a lot of words today, and I'm just going to check in with people to make sure we all know what we're talking about. Do people know what I say when I mean Maangamizi? If you understand what I'm saying when I say Maangamizi, I want to hear you. Do you understand what I mean by the word Maangamizi? If you don't understand the word, put up your hand. The word Maangamizi, for those of you who are humble enough to tell the truth, that you don't yet know what the Maangamizi is a word that we reclaim as a movement to name the collective experience that is happening to all of us. The Maangamizi is a Kiswahili Bantu term that refers to the African Holocaust. Now that African Holocaust, just like other communities name their destructive actions, has been happening for over 500 years. Through the menticide, the killing of our minds. Through the ecocide and the destruction of our relationship to the land. Through the genocide, which has destroyed our relationship to our families. So much so that we don't know who our families on the continent of Africa are. Through the many other types of attacks that keep us imprisoned away from our true power base. And from the theft and plunder, which totals now trillions of dollars every single day. Every single day that is getting robbed from the continent of Africa, while a lot of us here languish in poverty and languish as fourth-class citizens of Europe. Now that is not what our ancestors struggled for. That's not what our ancestors died for. And that's not what all of that blood was shed for. So today we will march. And when you march, you'll be marching with the millions of people around the world who are shutting down foreign embassies, who are shutting down the mines that are stealing our resources, and that are leading, largely led by young people, are leading a future Africa that many, many of the older generations have fought for and sweated for and toiled for. When we march, now these are your instructions, when we march we'll be exiting out of the north of Windrush Square. Please be aware that these are the co-organising tents in blue along this line. If you need any assistance in first aid or security, they will be along here. Anyone that's wearing a yellow vest is a steward of the day. If you have any sort of concerns or issues, please report it to them. They know what they're doing, and we are organised to be here to keep each other safe, first and foremost. When we take it to the streets, we will attempt to take one side of the street in order to make our way down to Elephant and Castle, where the Maangamizi crime scene of the Imperial War Museum is awaiting us. This is an Imperial War Museum that holds the trophies and artifacts of European conquest. Let's be clear, it holds the artifacts of terrorism that were practiced against our ancestors. So if you're not vexed about that and you're not powered up to go on a forward march to educate the people of this country about why we're here, about our role and responsibility in the United Kingdom, then give up now and stay here. Because those of us that want to go have a duty and a mission to share information with all of those who surround the march. you'll be handed some flyers by the stewards as you're leaving, and your role is to hand those out to the people around us. Because our acting of a march, that's not the reparations movement, that's not the freedom fight in itself, but it's an act of education to all of the people around us who haven't come today to ground with us. And so we take the space to make sure that we are heard, and we make sure that we are seen. So be proud that you're here today as part of this movement, and for all of the work that you do 365 days of the year to look after your own families and communities. Because that is the work of the unsung people in our community, who go through all types of struggles to survive in this system. Following that, we will be returning to Windrush Square for an evening of groundings and education. And that is where the education and learning starts, in order to talk to the many people in the eco cottages who, through their own forms of resistance, are highlighting a key pathway forward for how we build what we call Maatubuntuman in Ubuntudunia. Is that clear, family? Is that more than clear, family? Can I hear an ashe, family? And for those that don't know, ashe, much like the word amen, which was also from Africa, means let it be. So when we say let it be, let's affirm the existence that we're trying to build. Is that again clear on this first of Mosiah? Are we clear, family? All right then. See, I still need some assistance because I've got some eldership lessons to fill this in. And we might not be marching just yet. Whereabouts is it? Okay. 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 All right, instructions have been given from the Empress in charge, which is that we are waiting for a lorry to lead the way, because wherever we go, we have to be making our sound. And so that sound will be on the lorry, and when that comes, one of us up here will call us back. So I need us to practice the type of unity, the type of organization that we talk about. When someone approaches the stage and calls us back to march, let's be snapped to it. You can have your conversations, but let's know how to come together and march forwards when we need to march forwards. Is that also clear? The last thing is that there is a specific order that has been prepared for the march. And that means please be respectful of those the visibility of those communities who take pride of place today. Because if I've got a bit more time, then we might as well talk about it. We talked about a couple flags that we can see. We've got the flag of Biafra here, is that correct? The Biafran people have not been quiet to never hold their flag, to speak about the suffering of the European colonization and its legacy in Western Africa. You'll also see the red, black and green of the Pan-African flag. That is the flag that was created by the UNIA, by those who've demonstrated what Garvey was about when he talked about Africans coming together. And that flag has been universalized to be a symbol of our unity. You will also, if you turn around, see the red, yellow and green. That is the flag of Mali. And Mali is one of those places being led by young people in their 30s, who are being sent to get massacred in the deserts by the French colonizers. And we're not anti-French people, we're not anti-European people. We're anti the French establishment, the European establishment, that minority, which colonizes other people to commit crimes in their names. And it's important that we recognize the importance of that Malian flag, because that is the vanguard of our struggle right now. That is the vanguard of Africans taking back African soil for African development. That's the vanguard of Africans liberating millions for the development of our people. If we want a repaired world, a world that isn't going to suffer from the climate crisis, then we have to stop the looting of the oil, of the minerals, the destruction of our lands. And it's those young people in Mali that are doing it. Next to that flag is the Nigerian flag. That's the orange, white and green. Another very important flag to this day. And if you don't know what we're talking about, you'll find out later. Because it's in Niger today, just 2 days ago, that they ousted the collaborator class. That is that class of our community who choose to collaborate with colonization to destroy the rest of us instead of paying attention to what we need to do. And that again is a historic moment of stopping the Maangamizi in real time. So this reparations movement isn't small. It's not the few hundred of us who are gathered here today. It's the foot soldiers who are prepared to stand up for their rights. Being waved in the far, far, far background, wave it nice and high, Brother Oli. That's the flag of Burkina Faso. And if you know anything about Burkina Faso, you know again that young people who've had their backs up against the wall have chosen to do what time requires of them. And in doing so, they are building the historic Mali-Burkina Faso Federation, and we from the Maatubuntujamaa UK send all the solidarity, powers and strength to those audacious, brave young people who are doing all of that for all of us to have a future. Let that not be lost on those of us here today. That those are the people that are fighting for us today. And there will also be the reparations banners and many of the others who will be leading the march. The only other banners that must take pride of place. My mouth is dry. The only other banner that must take pride of place is this Stop the Maangamizi banner. Because the Stop the Maangamizi banner isn't just about the Stop the Maangamizi Recharge Genocide campaign. This isn't about one campaign. Bless you. Yeah, it was a late night as well. It's about that banner representing the Haitian people, the people of Haiti. Now, if you know anything about the people of Haiti, I can't tell, do you know anything about the people of Haiti? If you do, then you know that that was the first successful rebellion of enslaved African peoples. That changed the trajectory of history because they dared to do what some of us only want to talk about. And so that flag, the red and black, black for the color of our skin, red for the blood that was shed, has to take pride of place so that we remember the types of work that goes into keeping us here, to keeping us as a resilient, proud and beautiful people who are now catalyzing reparations movements in other communities around the world. And don't let that be lost on you, that the work that we do has a role to teach the rest of the world something or two about humanity, something about civilization, and about what it means to keep our heads held high when the Maangamizi is all too serious. So at that time when we call you back, please be prepared to be led by our stewards who have volunteered their time today alongside yourselves to make sure that we're safe and secure. Now the last thing I'll say before I lose my breath completely is we said something about the reparations rebellion, that this is a rebellion. And when we say we didn't ask permission to be here, we meant it. Now we will be hearing from some of our elected officials who come from our community who need our support. But it's important to point out the fact that just 4 days ago, Lambeth Council sent a letter out to all of the businesses in this local area. Hello? Hello, hello? Ah, they cut me off. Hello, hello? Okay. Lambeth Council sent a letter around to all of the businesses in this area because they can't quite endorse Pan-Afrikan Reparations Rebellion, because they can't endorse our reparations truly, because they know that means a completely different world order. But they recognize that after 10 years of you coming here and holding this space, they are forced to recognize that on this day, Africans, representing the resistance of people around the world, will hold this space, no matter how many of us there are, and claim this space for our own uses. So when we talk about the Maatubuntujamaas and our community self-defense, let's talk about exercising our rights like we have today more often. Let's talk about using that to defend our young people. Let's talk about using that to defend their future. And let's talk about using that to make sure that we're learning the true history or our story of where our people have come from. Ashe? All right. We're going to hear play us out with some music and sound from SG Vibes, who are supporting today with their edutainment. All that has been consciously selected. Yes. And before we pass on to them for this initial opening introduction of, again, the 2023 Pan-African Reparations Rebellion Groundings, let's please give a big, warm healing and rise up for the Sangoma drummers, elder brother Asheba, somewhere in between an elder and an uncle. And of course, all the other drummers who have come here today to hold sound. Again, lastly, because the drum, just like the abeng, is a historic ancestral sound that resonates with the blood in our bones. And those skins, which come from live animals, representing the beating hearts of our communities and our self-reliance. So you're hearing the same drums that have been beaten for centuries every time our people have risen up to hold our space. And for that reason, give thanks to all of yourselves. We'll hold this space and we'll call you back to attention when it's time for us to hold our space and take to the streets. Anyone who has an abeng, I'd like you to sound that abeng, so you know that that is the sound of the abeng. And that sound will call us back here to take to the streets. Abundant blessings and welcome to this African Emancipation Day Reparations March Committee. Let's leave here better organized than we came, better united than we understood, and let's understand the mission that we've been called to take forward. Give thanks, family.
Good evening all, or good afternoon all. My name is Wendell Daniel, and welcome to Street Night, and we're coming to you live and direct from Stop the Maangamizi in Brixton. And in a few moments, I'm going to be interviewing Brother Leo Mohammed from the Nation of Islam. So big up. So what we're going to do now, we're going to interview Brother Leo Mohammed from the Nation of Islam. So you ready, brother?
Yes, sir. When you're ready.
So good afternoon, Brother Leo. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to interview you down here in Brixton. So how have you been? We haven't seen you on camera with Street Mike for about 2 years.
I've been very well by the grace and mercy of Allah, my dear brother. You know, we've been very busy working in the black community, trying to maintain a momentum of growth and development. And yeah, that's really what we've been doing. Obviously, we haven't yet been to Hyde Park this year, but we are going out. We do intend to go. And that's where we are right now.
I can remember about 18 months ago, you spoke a beautiful metaphor when you said to Street Mike that during your absence at Speaker's Corner, lots of weeds had grown up. And it was your intention to come and chop those weeds down. So when will you be returning to Speaker's Corner, because you are missed, to chop down some weeds?
Inshallah, we should be there this Sunday by the grace and mercy of Allah. And yeah, you know, brother, Speaker's Corner is a very, very important place because it's an opportunity for serious people to give a serious word. And unfortunately, oftentimes it's a lot of trivia and foolishness that goes on. And then people also at times degenerate into violent, antisocial conduct. And, you know, it's a shame. So when we come there, we come there with a very positive attitude toward really giving a word that is full of light, life and power to really inspire the people to do better.
So, for clarity, you're returning to Speaker's Corner this Sunday. What time? Because Street Mike is going to be live, and I want to be live with you. And for how many weeks will you be at Speaker's Corner?
Security reasons, brother. We wouldn't give out that kind of information. But be in no doubt that if Allah spares our life, we will be there this Sunday, inshallah.
Big up, big up. So tell me about the reasons you're down here today at the Stockton Maangamizi in Brixton. So why are you down here today, sir?
Well, this is the 10th anniversary of the annual Emancipation Day celebration. And 10 years, brother, is one of those benchmarks that needs to be celebrated, needs to be acknowledged, because unfortunately, oftentimes in the black community, much of what we do is very short-lived. And so when something can be maintained for 10 years, it shows that the foundation of it, may be good, it may be solid, and it may be something that we can build upon. And so therefore, that's why we're here. We very much believe in this cause of reparations. We believe in the cause of black liberation. We believe that as a people, we have not yet united sufficiently where we can force the government to recognize our worth, our value, and to pay reparations. But that's part of the aim, part of the objective is to get black people to unite into a critical mass whereby we can say to the government, reparations or else, liberation or else. We have to become a people who can threaten the establishment to the degree where they recognize that in 2023, rapidly approaching 2024, we do not intend as a people to remain as other people's beating sticks, to remain as other people's bogeymen and women, to remain as welfare scroungers, or to be forced into poor housing. We want to live as equal human beings with freedom, justice, and equality. So that's why, as members of the Nation of Islam, we come out each and every time to support the masses of our people and to guide our people to the best of our ability into that cognizance, that recognition that we have to be that much more organized, that much more unified as a people. Otherwise, if we continue and remain divided, then we will never ever, we will stay in this kind of treading water condition and nothing will change, because the powers that be, the government and all of their institutions don't give a damn about black people. We have to make them give a damn by first giving a damn about ourselves. When they recognize that we as black men and black women love one another and desire to see our families come together and be free, then they'll start taking us more seriously. But as long as we remain divided against one another and we won't unify and act in a collective way, the government, they say, well, why should we do anything? If these people won't do anything for themselves, why should we do what we are required to do, which is to repair the damage over 400 years of destruction and another 100+ years of racism, apartheid, you name it, we have been subject to it.
Final question, and it's probably going to be the easiest. Tell me more of that help and support you've been giving the community with your schools, which you've been supporting, I believe, on a Saturday.
Yeah, there are a number of academies, young leaders academies around the country that, you know, we try to support with our time and also with our finances to really, again, encourage the next generation of young people to have a link between the elders and the youth. Because what's happened, again, in the society is that the government and the institutions, when I'm saying institutions, I'm talking about schools, I'm talking about all of the institutions which have been labeled racist. These governmental institutions have been working overtime to create a huge divide between the elder black people and the youth. And today that divide is real. And so our young people who are mostly disconnected from their roots don't have a good knowledge of self. They're stabbing each other, they're shooting each other, they are running drugs across county lines. There's all manner of crazy stuff going on because we have allowed ourselves to be divided from our youth. And so what we're trying to do in supporting these academies and manhood academies and young schools for our children is to encourage the young people to be intelligent, to get education, not necessarily a British curriculum, but an Afrocentric curriculum, a curriculum which is about knowledge of self, a curriculum which is about putting mathematics and calculation at the center of their learning. Because without math, we can't build anything, we can't do anything. And so, you know, this is what we do because we understand the importance of this type of training for our young people. And we are desperate to capture the imagination of the youth, to take them off these streets, to destroy that fake youth culture that they've been given. Got nothing to do with black culture, got nothing to do with black people. Walking around with their trousers hanging down, walking around, you know, our children being targeted and the young boys being feminized and the girls being emasculated. Come on, man. We got our work cut out and we don't shy away from it. And we tell truth and speak truth to power regardless, because we fear no one and nothing but God.
As normal, Brother Leo, thank you very much for giving Street Mike this opportunity. As normal, I will be at Speaker's Corner on Sunday. I'll be live from 1 o'clock till 6. I hope to see you at some stage on Sunday, and I've no doubt you'll be ringing me prior to that.
Yes, sir. We look forward to seeing you, brother, and may the Creator bless you, brother, for your wonderful work, and please keep it up.
Big up.
The Million Men March that we were together there in Washington, D.C.
Yes, sir.
2015. So how are you planning to bring the Million Men March in the UK? Because we need to do such a powerful gathering.
Yeah, that would be so wonderful, brother. The Million Man March was held in 1995 in Washington, D.C. That was the origin of it. October the 16th, 1995. A few years later, in 1998, we held the 10,000-man march in Trafalgar Square right here in the UK. And it was a beautiful day, brother. It was one of the greatest marches that's ever taken place in the UK, but the media and the government attempted to hide it. But we had at least 30,000 people come out throughout the course of that day. And it was a very, very successful gathering. And we intend, by the grace and the mercy of God, we do need to have a gathering like that again. And so, we don't know if we're going to be able to replicate 1 million. The Honourable Minister Louis Farrakhan called for 1 million. Nearly 2 million black men came out. And it was a beautiful, powerful day, which is still resonating to this very day. That's how powerful it was. And so, we need the big meetings. We need black men in particular to come together, because the black man has been delinquent in our responsibility and in our duty to our communities, to our women, to our children. Many of the black women today are very unhappy, very sad women, because they are scanning the horizon for a man and they can't see a man. They see a lot of black men who are literally behaving like boys, like they're children when they're grown men. And we need to stop this. We need, as men, to come together and be men. Chinese men, brother, nobody takes liberties with Chinese men, because Chinese men understand what it means to stand together in Chinese unity. You see the Asians now, how they're flexing all over this country? Back in the day, Pakistanis and Indian people, they were laughed at. You ain't laughing at them no more, because they understand unity and they have the power of community. But we are the only people, brother, who have allowed ourselves to be scattered all over the country. There is no place in this country that you can genuinely today call a black community. Because if it was a black community, we would control all of the infrastructure in that community. We would control the economics in that community. We would even govern that community in terms of policing. But there is no such thing, because we are the people who have fallen for a fake and a false teaching of integration. You can't go into any Chinatown in any major city in this country and ask the Chinese to integrate. They will laugh you out of their community. You can't go into South or any Asian community and ask them, why are all you Asians sticking together? They would laugh you out of the community. But we black people, we fall for it, hook, line and sinker. Oh, why are all you blacks sticking together? That's reverse racism. And we fall for it and we all split up and run off in different directions. We've got to have our own. The reason why we have no respect in the society, the reason why hundreds of us have died in police custody with no recriminations, is because we won't build a black community. We need a black community with black power, where people fear to come into that community and take liberties.
Brother Lou, talking about the uprising in the motherland. We see Niger stand up. We see Burkina Faso. We see Mali. They're standing up, and they're young warriors. What is your take on the uprising that is happening in Africa, especially on the French side as well as the Portuguese side? They say enough is enough, and they boldly standing up with their guns and machines. They're standing up. What is your take about it,
brother? Many of our freedom fighters, when the Western imperial powers, brother, were raping and destroying the African continent, and when they enslaved and took us out of Africa and destroyed us as a human reality in the Western world, many of our freedom fighters, brother, the only place they could turn to in those days was Russia. That's where we got our Kalashnikovs from. And we could take the war to the enemy in the bush in Zimbabwe and in Mozambique and in all of these places, brother. Those Soviet people, they stood by us. Many of our freedom fighters went there and studied in their universities. And those people today, some of these African leaders, so-called leaders, so weak and decrepit, shaking in their boots because the West don't like Putin. Let me tell you something, brother. Many of these African nations you see now, some of the leaders seem like they may be growing a pair. They may be getting some testicular fortitude. Why? Because they see a Putin today who has said to the West, no more. No more. We need men like Putin. We need black men with that kind of courage and that kind of fortitude to say to the West, we ain't playing that game no more. You see? And so this is what you see happening on the continent today. Many of our people are greatly inspired, brother. You see, in Niger, I think they were saying Biden and these devils were threatening not to give aid. The leader in Niger said, keep it. And in fact, take it and feed your poor.
And they kicked the French out.
There you go. And we got to kick the French out. We got to kick the Americans out. We got to kick the British out, brother. Because Africa, brother, is the richest continent on the planet. Africa is the future, brother. And they know this. And I'm saying this to all the African leaders. This is your little brother who was enslaved in the West. I'm telling you, man, you got to find a way to make the United States of Africa a reality. And all of you have to humble yourself and take your place and choose one leader, one army, one government. Oh man, Africa, overnight, Africa would be the superpower on the planet, brother. And that's without the weapons. And I'm saying this, man, you know, the reality, my dear brother, I'm very passionate about this. Please forgive my loudness or whatever.
Go ahead.
But I say this, brother, you know, we got a lot of problems as a people. And it's not going to be snap your finger, abracadabra, that we're going to overcome these things. But I say it like this to you. The West is wicked, brother. And they're not going to go silently into the night. These are demonic forces that we're dealing with here. And they will fight tooth and nail to maintain their global hegemony. But whatever they do, brother, it will fail. This is the time of the rise of the black man and woman. It's our time. Our time. And we've got to do this now. And I say to all the youth, reconnect with the elders. In the African tradition, it says, old men for counsel, young men for war. We've got experience, you young brothers. Stop disrespecting your elders. Stop disrespecting your parents. Respect your mothers. Respect your fathers. Come back home so that we can unite youth and elders, male and female, African and so-called Caribbean. We're all one people. Let's come together because it's our time now.
So real quick, obviously they banned.
Hello. No. You come from you come from where? You play the drum.
Good afternoon, all.
I'm coming.
Good afternoon all, my name is Wendell Daniel and welcome to Street Mic, and I apologise this is a bit echoey. I don't know why that is, and I'm trying to eradicate that echoey sound. So let's try again. Good afternoon all, my name is Wendell Daniel and welcome to Street Mic, and we're coming to you live and direct from Windrush Square here in Brixton for the Stop the Maangamizi gathering, and in a few moments the event will be going into a march, and they'll be marching all the way to the Natural History excuse me, they'll be going all the way to the Natural History Museum, but I will not be going down there myself, and I will only be marching a little way and down to Brixton tube station if that's the direction they're going. Then I will be making my way home. But what is really great is that this is the 10th anniversary of the event, and you know, there's probably 200-300 people here, and later on this evening there will be a lot more people here. But because it's a weekday on a Tuesday, you know, you normally get fewer people. But the first time I attended this event was about 10 years ago. And sorry, it was about 3 years ago. And there were literally thousands and thousands of people on the streets of London. And it is going to be amazing today. But what for me was really great was the fact that we had Brother Leo Mohammed from the Nation of Islam. And I have been in communication with him. And he's confirmed he will be at Speaker's Corner on Sunday. He hasn't said what time, but I will know in advance, but I won't be telling you. But all I will say is that he will be at Speaker's Corner on Sunday. And previously, Brother Leo Mohammed had said that during his absence, during the last 2 years, lots of weeds have grown up at Speaker's Corner, and it is his intention to go and chop those weeds down, and he will be returning to Speaker's Corner, which is really great. But I am going to look around here, and when the march starts for real, I'm going to be marching with them only a few hundred yards down to Brixton tube station, if that is the direction they're going. But they're actually going to make their way all the way to the Natural History Museum, where thousands of artifacts have been stolen from Africa. So they're going down there to protest, and I won't be, because I have to pick my grandchildren up, and sometimes family comes first. So I hope you have enjoyed today. It only gives you a small snapshot into what is happening around London. This kind of stuff you do not see in the national news. But, you know, it's black people. So it's not recorded in the national media, but it's important for people like me, when I can, to be out here. It's not about numbers. It's about recording history as it unfolds in front of you. But all I can say is thank you very much for watching, and I've no doubt that we will be engaging with a few people today.
And then if you do something, you have to do You're going to go on the march? You're going to go on the march?
So, only up to the, if they're going that direction, only up to the station. I'm not. No. Get
a quick thing.
A quickie. I know you like quickies, Glenn. So, Glenn, if you look in the camera. So, good afternoon, and as normal, the great Glenroy Watson is at the stop the young. So, Glenn, tell me more about this event and why it's important for you to be here. And also, I see your colleagues with the RMT flag is also here. So, first you and your union.
The RMT and the Global African Congress are both here because the organisation work together. But this event is a very important event. And we need more people to also recognise that this is Mosiah. This is not August. We don't know and have anything to do with Augustus Caesar. So we need to name it and claim it. So this is Mosiah. This is the first of Mosiah, and throughout this month, it's the month of Mosiah. So it's important to acknowledge it first. But also, this is about reparation and the ending of enslavement, because we're still very much confused, globally especially, about when this thing ends, because you know people were playing games. They tried to tell us enslavement end in 1807. This is what the British are trying to say, and say they were the first. Well, even if we go by that calendar, Haiti was 1801, so they ended enslavement long before the British. And in fact, it should be remembered that so-called enslavers here, or indeed the people like Wilberforce, who was pretending that they wanted to end enslavement, sent troops to Haiti to try and defeat the victorious people there who were now going to create the first independent country in the Western Hemisphere of an African nation. So don't ever let Britain claim anything in regard to enslavement, because that 1807 date did not become effective until 1838. Okay? So really we need to recognize the lies are being told, the idea and self-proclamation that people feel they can do that. Even the current Prime Minister, who maybe somebody will think, you know, here we've got somebody who's a bit of a lighter, darker shade than the majority of people here. What do? They stamp on our demand around reparation when Bella Bearer asks a very simple question, isn't it time we talk about it? Sunak says, or Richie Sunak, or Rich Sunak says, oh, no, we don't want to go into all those kind of things again. So I hope that helps her, and I want to go and see some more.
And before you do, Glenn, I must ask the great Glenroy, when is the great Glenroy going to retire? Or is that never going to happen?
Well, it depends what you mean, you know. Having to work for a living, that's going to end soon, because I'm going to, I don't want to say it in front of Quark because you might come and visit me, but I'm going to Zanzibar in a little while.
Big up!
I'm going to, you know, make it an end to that date, you know. So soon.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Glenn. Excellent. So that's the great Glenroy Watson. Thanks a lot, yeah. And I'm going to interview a great man now from a radio station, Galaxy. Excuse me, none of that on my live stream. None of that on my live stream. So good afternoon, sir. If you step forward. Big up. So good afternoon, sir. The last time I saw you, to my recollection, was May the 20-something, outside of Concert Road where Sasha Johnson was shot. True or not?
Correct, Virgin. Correct.
So how are you keeping, sir, and what's your name?
Well, Abu Ratata, Galaxy Radio, the only de-brainwashing station. The only anti-colonial virus station serving the African nation, home and abroad. Yes.
So tell me about this event and why it's important for Galaxy Radio to be here supporting such an important event.
Well, we all should be here, you know, because reparation is making preparation for the generation to come. And if we come here with that ethos, then it would be a good thing, because we are eating the fruit that others plant the seed earlier on. So if we can't give back something, we have to make a contribution back to life. And life gives us a lot of lesson, you know. So it's a pleasure being here.
Excellent. As normal, sir. Thank you very much. And I look forward to my invite. Excuse me, come forward. You always give me bogus excuse. Bogus excuse. Yeah.
I'm here all day. Brother Alitunji.
I want to capture a few people before the march starts.
Yes. Them around. I will try.
What time are they going? In any minute, isn't they?
Yeah, they're going in.
Yeah. Because I want to catch that black policeman there as well for obvious reasons.
All right.
For me to interview you because I know Mike Wallace always lets Wendell Daniel interview him. Big up. Hey, did you like that? Did you like that one?
What happened? See how separate he did that, yeah?
So did you like that one?
I like how you got Mike Wallace.
Yeah. Yes. So if you step forward, sir, if you come round. Come, don't be scared.
Michael's on our team.
I know. So good afternoon, sir. My name is Wendell Daniel from Street Mike, and I'm currently live streaming. And don't be scared of me because I'm nice and easy. Tell me about the importance of the police being here to support this event.
I mean, you can't. Words can't describe how important it is. Really, for myself, I'm Joseph and my colleague and Sikam, and for us to really just to come to today's event and just be Joseph and Sikam, be ourselves, be part of the event, and we've had some amazing conversations with everybody here today. There's some amazing food on, and we're looking forward to being part of it, being part of the walk when that takes place, and just being here together, really, with all the community members and things.
Have you had the opportunity to eat some curry goat rice and peas or jerk chicken?
Not yet. We've been too busy talking. Yeah.
So if you step forward, sir. So I'm going to ask you a dodgy question, but it's not. You know, I try to be fair. As a black policeman, you know, what is it like being an officer in such a great borough?
I'm going to keep it very short and sweet. It's an honour. It's a pleasure. You know, don't get me wrong, there's difficulties, there's challenges, but which journey in life that's rewarding doesn't present challenges? And yeah, it's just, for me, it's an absolute pleasure and an honour. I've been doing it for 21 years, and I can't, you know, however longer I've got, I look forward to it.
And I'm going to ask you another easy question. I love to ask easy questions. If I threw this one at Mike, he'll just wrap off a good answer. Tell me, why should people, regardless of what colour, join the Met? Why should and must they join the Metropolitan Police?
Because if you want to see the change, you've got to be part of the change. Yeah. There's so much opportunities within the police service to make a change, to make a difference to your communities that you serve. It's a rewarding job. I've enjoyed my 21 years, and there's so many amazing individuals that will contribute a massive amount of skills, diversity, talent to the police service that we need, as an organisation, will welcome and desperately need.
Excellent stuff. And yourself, sir? Why should people, regardless of colour, join the Met?
Well, I think there's some incredible work that is going on in relation to our engagement team within Lambeth and Southwark, and we're doing a tremendous amount of work to really just to try and put that emphasis onto the officers to be themselves, to be you know, when they go to community events, the community want to see the police there and want to have the police part of those particular events, and for people to be genuine, to be there, to be part of the community, and to work together to keep people safe, because we can only do those things really together, and the police can't do it, you know, on their own. They need to have the community completely on board with that, and other agencies as well. That's the only way, really.
Excellent stuff. See, that was nice and easy, wasn't it? You was getting scared, weren't you? Big up. See, I'm going to message Michael and tell him that.
This is what your name is, sir. Good morning. Your name, what your name is? That's your name. To sue the reportage is on. You have a website to sue the reportage, please.
So Street Mike live stream.
Street Mike live stream.
So I'm live.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Thanks, my lord. Very good work. Yeah. Good work. Very lovely, beautiful.
Thank you.
Present to you the next presentation of Black African world. Afro-American. No black. My lord. What's that reportage between us?
Watch out, you love film around here, innit?
Yeah, I'm going to interview you.
Oh, stop it!
We don't scared for.
Huh?
So I'm now going to interview this lovely young lady who's selling jerk chicken, rice and peas. So if you step forward. So if you move out the way, sir. If you move out the way, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Hey, I'll be with you in a minute. So if you stand there, I want the jerk chicken and the food in the background.
People are coming in. I'll get him. Is it hot, my lovely? Is it hot?
So if you move round, so come round a bit. That's it. Come here. So good afternoon. What is your name?
Shireen Ingram.
So Shireen, tell me more about some lovely smell. And it's not your perfume, but that lovely smell that I'm smelling down here.
Our jerk chicken. Basically, we make our own marinades and sauces. So yeah, that's what you can smell, the jerk chicken cooking fresh.
But what is it about jerk chicken that people love?
I think it's the smell, the aroma, and obviously it's a massive focal point when it's on the barbecue. But it's a mix of spices, isn't it? It's like the jerk consists of ginger, nutmeg, cinnamon, garlic, all the great things that just give it that jerk taste.
But when you marinate the chicken, in some cultures in this country, they might just take the chicken out the packet.
I know, that's not Jamaicans, that's not a Caribbean way at all.
So how long do you marinate for?
I marinate mine for 24 hours. Always 24 hours, at least.
A minimum?
A minimum. You know that. You do that at home.
So I do mine for 3-4 days.
Well, exactly. I don't have that time because I'm running a business. But because we make our jerk concentrate, we make all sauces. So, it's always a winner with us.
And what does a portion of jerk chicken cost? The reason I'm out, rice and peas, yeah.
Yeah.
At the carnival is about £10.
Same here. And you get rice and peas, you get authentic jerk chicken made with our own jerk box food marinade, and you get a homemade slaw. And we make Jamaican pickle, banana ketchup, which is made from bananas that would have ended up in landfill. So supporting us is like supporting food waste generally. So we do a pineapple and pimento, blackcurrant chili jam, Jamaican pickle, the jerk marinade.
Gee, that is so great, and I'm going to be coming back to get my portion.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Big up. See, that was nice, isn't it?
Yeah, that's nice. Thank you. How am I going to see it? Oh no.
The call to come together and united we shall stand.
So, in a few moments, the march will be starting down here at Windrush Square in Brixton, and I do hope you are enjoying what you are seeing. If this is the first time you've seen Street Mike, give me the thumbs up, make your comments down below, share and follow, and all you can do is give me a big up. But we are going to be in a few moments time, we are going to be starting the march down here at Windrush Square, but they're going to be marching all of the way to the Natural History Museum. But I'm not going with them all of that way. I'm only marching for about 5-10 minutes. I'm going to try and interview. I'm going to try. So I'm going to try and interview Esther in a few moments. So what I'm going to do in a few moments. So good afternoon, sir. I feel so privileged. I'm now interviewing you for the second time in less than a week. So how are you keeping, sir?
I'm blessed, man.
Yeah. Come forward a bit so I can get better sound.
Yeah.
So what are you doing down here in Brixton?
Yeah, man. We're at the Reparations March every year, without fail. You know, congregating with the people. It's always beautiful.
Do you know something? I was watching back on a video I made 3 years ago when you guys, I met you for the first time, coming down there, that road. Do you remember how big it was?
Yeah. Well, and it's going to be bigger next year, so we've got good things planned for the Reparations March. You know, the youth are going to step up and... Right.
But you was telling me last week that you're now retired because you've been doing the work for 10 years. Is that true?
Yeah, so activism-wise, I'm taking a big step back. Obviously, I've stepped to every city, London, Birmingham, Leeds, Bristol, Ipswich. I've always done it for myself, no GoFundMe, you know, but it's time to step into a new role.
But why? I've got to ask the why question.
I think why will reveal itself within time.
And last time, if I can remember, when we did the Chris cover, your children were there. Is my memory correct?
Yeah, correct.
And how is that for your children? Because I'm going to start bringing my grandchildren to certain events so they can learn. So how do your children enjoy certain events?
It's beautiful, man. It's good for them to see the people coming together for positive change for them. Because really the fight that we're fighting is for them. We want them not to go through what Chow Q went through. We want them not to go through what Chris Carver went through.
And they enjoy and learn from it.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm gonna do it. Nice one. Yeah. Big up.
Errol, I know that's your name.
So that's respect. He's retired from activism. He has not disclosed the reasons why, but I'm trying to find out. So the march is now going to begin.
And lastly,
I will not be following them on their march. They're going in the opposite direction to Brixton tube station. They're going no more towards the Streatham area. So they're going in the wrong direction. So I'm only capturing a few minutes. Then I'll be saying my final words before closing down.
Hi, sweet Mike. How are you? How are you? Would you like to buy a Galaxy bag? I wish I had some don't worry. Galaxy Radio. Galaxy3.net. Where you are streamed regularly. Those are free on your So they're going to congregate this side. All right. South City. I'm sure they'll announce it, Abu. I'm sure they'll announce it when they're ready.
I've got the drawings for the street there. How can I scale it down now to like scale it right down to transfers? And then I was thinking either get it 3D printed.
Don't want no destruction, oh yeah. National creation. And save our nations. Let me tell you, mash up creation. Hold it up and save our nations. Bantam remains unjust. Just can't check for who to trust. Searching for the devil's band. You must can't find at least one. Mash up creation. Hold it up and save our nations. Let me tell you, mash up creation. Build it up and save our nations.
Allow that sound to, that vibration sound to reach.
Gotta see it in and see it out. You got to hold on firm and try not to go. Mash up creation. Build it up and save our nations. Let me tell you, mash up creation. Build it up and save our nations.
readying yourselves for the forward march. Drummers, please collect your drums. Grab your flags. Grab your placards. If you have any concerns about mobility, this march is mobility friendly. And there is a bus waiting for you. Or just waiting to come. The people are waiting. Probably closer to the stage.
Anyone? Any speaker into a Bluetooth speaker. Technically, yeah. Feed it. I mean, it's a question of power in it. And I think you guys need quite some batteries for, full scale speakers. For the voltage through. Amplify it, please. You've got those issues as well. Amplify it. Sort the electronics out and then apply it.
If you need any assistance with mobility for the march, down a little bit. If you need any mobility assistance with the march, please make your way to the elder seating area. There will be a bus to support you. Feet and wheels count too.
Open your mind and the hands burn on. Don't give up now. Pray for strength now. For you I dedicate my song.
And if you're not clear, the march leaves from the bottom side of Windrush Square.
So the march should be congregating around this area very soon.
You stupid,
darling. You waved at me, so I acknowledge.
Let me go to the interview.
All right, okay, let's do it.
Step forward.
Step forward.
So, good afternoon. For the record, last time I see you was Edmonton, wasn't it?
No, I didn't make that one, brother. I saw you filming online, though. Black Lives Matter. Respect.
Oh, was it? All right then. There's a BLM. So what are you doing down in Brixton, girl?
Black Lives Matter. Yeah. BLM.
So what are you doing down here?
I'm here because today is the first of Mosiah. All right. I'm showing an image of Marcus Mosiah Garvey. We don't say August after Augustus Caesar. We've reclaimed this in the spirit of Kujagulia, self-determination. So first of Mosiah for the Reparations Day.
So this is now the 10th anniversary, and technically it should be getting bigger and bigger and bigger. How would you describe the numbers today? But is that down to the fact, I'm chucking you a hook, that it's a Tuesday and it's a work day?
In all seriousness, brother, it would be politically unprofessional if I was to even begin to try and explain some of the machinations that have been going on, all right? However, within the midst of that, we have a deliberate attempt by such people as
the police.
Yeah, but I'm gonna get to a bit more specific. You know, when people like myself a decade ago started talking about reparations, and in fact before then, we're going back to 1994 when the great Bernie Grant first started speaking about it. I've got a lovely picture of me and Bernie because he was the first person that really sparked into my mind the importance of reparations. All right? Now, the reality is, when the first march occurred in 2014, you were probably here, there was 5,000 people. That continued for a number of years. It was only in 2020 when we had the likes of Forever Family.
Wow, I watched that video this morning.
Right. So anyone that wants to go to the archives, start with 2014. If you can't keep up with it, go straight to 2020. And you'll understand why we are where we are today. I'll fast track it by saying this. The establishment never thought they would see organised black youth, who they only report about as killing and murdering each other, be here in Brixton with elders like myself and senior elders, not partying, not jumping up and down. I'm not saying our community shouldn't party, but here listening to music that feeds the heart, mind and soul of the black personality, and see young black men and young black women. I'm talking teenagers and up into their 30s. So we're talking about the younger generation here with us in an intergenerational exchange of good vibes. But guess what? For the major issue of reparations, the establishment never thought they'd see that happening. And when they saw what they did in 2020, that was it. They had to destroy what they were seeing, i.e. black youth listening to their elders and also speaking up for themselves.
And you know something about that event? I was here, I recorded it. I was here from about 9 o'clock in the morning. When I watched the video this morning, which I made, when Forever Family was coming down, is it Longacre?
Yes.
Yeah.
Acre Lane.
Acre Lane, I beg your pardon. Yeah. And when you saw them, that same night I heard Nigel Farage complaining that the black people had a paramilitary group wearing uniforms.
Nigel Farage was absolutely hysterical. He went bonkers and out of his mind. And he started saying, as you said, all sorts of nonsense about there's a black militia in Britain. Then there was all the terrible stories about them modelling themselves on the black militia with after the Grand Master in America of the NFA. Not to say there's anything wrong with that, because if we know the history of even the Black Panther Party, who Forever Family were being compared to, these weren't terrorists. These were young black men and women organising against police terror and police murder of their own family members and members of the black community, right? And now let's get back to the point of why we're here today. As a consequence, if we join the dots, we see and we know Sasha Johnson was with us in 2020, right? I'm not taking away from what happened in 2014 and those other large numbers, but that really defined that particular march, because you saw the results of organised black youth together with their own voice, listening to the elders as well about one major political issues. A global public apology for the enslavement of 400 years of an African people who is still feeling the brunt of that now through institutionalized racism. So what happens, and I will land on this point, we see Sasha Johnson 8 months later, May 2021, shot in the head. Let's join the dots. We then see several months later, i.e. the next year, XR join this march in significant numbers, all right? We then see March this year, a white woman appear from out of nowhere who, interestingly enough, worked for the BBC. The BBC, who 10 years previously never once gave any coverage about the march, she's now emerged as the reparations leader and spokesperson. I mean, you can't make this stuff up, right? So that in itself tells us, in actual fact, whilst we don't have the 5,000 here today, victory is very much ours. If it wasn't, they wouldn't have had to try and take Sasha Johnson, the youth voice, along with Forever Family, out of the picture, and replace her with what? An old white liberal woman who claims she's going to speak for you, I, and the younger black generation. What in the hell is that all about? It's about political politricks, political manoeuvring, political trying to snatch from us our hard work of 10 years and take away from what us, right, we have worked to get, and that is a public inquiry, an apology, and yes, compensation. End third world debt. Stop putting crazy restrictions on the likes of Jamaica, imposing visa for travel. There's a whole number of things, right? I'm not here to lecture. I've said quite a bit already. So what I'm saying to those watching this, don't be fooled by what you're seeing here today in terms of what some may say, oh, 10 years on, how comes there isn't, half a million black people here? Because those same black people that were kept out of what does reparations mean to us in 2014 are now being fed.
But I'm going to have to catch up with you because they're going to be leaving in a minute to go to the march.
On this. Street Mark, you're a...
Mike.
Street Mike, you are a legend.
Big up.
Big up to Street Mike. Without you, we wouldn't get this necessary archival recording. Thank you and respect. Thank you. And next time, don't forget to ask my name. It's all good. All right, Street Mike, later. Big up.
Okay. So now we enter into our period of silence for 3 minutes as we approach right on the dot 3 o'clock. Please tell the person beside you to assume a posture of reverence and be silent, please. Tell the person behind you to assume a posture of reverence and be quiet, please. We are starting 3 minutes silence. Can we have the music off over this side, please? We want complete silence on the square. Wherever that noise is coming from, please ask them to turn it off. Somebody go over there, please. Because we are remembering our ancestors right now. And I think it's Cobra sound testing, but they need to be still for just 3 minutes. Thank you, Kobina. You're going to sort that out.
So we're now going to enter 3
So please
minutes
tell the person
silence.
beside you and behind you, we're about to observe 3 minutes silence.
just asking the European them who amongst me. Remember, this is an African affair. So be respectful. When we march, people, remember we have millions and millions of ancestors on the right of us, on the left of us, in front of us, behind us, under us, and over us. So we march not alone. Ashe! Ashe! Ashe!
So for those of you who wish to join the march and may have a mobility challenge, there is a white minibus that has limited seats for those who cannot walk the distance for whatever reason. So that will be somewhere near the truck. But in between the truck and the minibus, if you could line up facing in the direction of the truck, behind the truck. Can we have the Liberty or Death banner lined up now, please, and the Stop Maangamizi banner lined up now? And can the rest of us then go now and line up behind those banners, please?
So we're now going to be setting off on a march, and big up. Let's have a chat with a few of the organisers down here today. Big up, big. Hey, what's happening, man? So, Auntie, look into the camera, my darling. Big up. Come forward. So, Auntie, how you feeling today, girl?
I'm feeling great, actually. I'm feeling really, really good. This is the 10th year anniversary. I was here for the first, and it's good to be here for the 10th.
How has it changed over the years?
It's changed by the amount of people. Unfortunately, our people don't come out, and we need the support. We need the support of all of our people. So all those who are sitting down watching this, if you're not here this year, come out next year, because we need you here. We're here, we're doing it for everybody, we're not doing it for ourselves.
But the good thing, we've got that historical archive to show what's happening. But will you be marching all the way to the History Museum?
I don't know if I've been marching all the way to this museum, but I'll do my best.
But tell me about the significance of going there and all of those artifacts that have been stolen from our great nations.
Why they got them, I don't know. They know why they got them, because obviously it means something to them why they have it. And it's time that they give it up, they give it back, and they give back the people them things, give back our things, because it's got no use in their walls, behind their four walls.
Excellent, thank you very much. Auntie! Big up! Excuse me, come before you get... We can interview her, we are talking. So, Auntie! Let me move the camera back. How you feeling? How you feeling being on the back of this truck?
I don't really have any feelings about being on the truck. I'm just performing a duty for our people. And, you know, that is always a privilege. And yeah, it's just something we have to do.
But what goes through your mind as you're on the back, going all the way singing, and you know, what goes through, what are those feelings?
We are educating people, we are getting them to think solutions around building power and contesting power. We're getting them to visualize our future nation as a repaired people. We talk too much about diagnostics and what people have done to us and what's wrong with us. Let's be solution focused now and talk about rebuilding our nation with the assistance of our ancestors, because we are also doing it for them and for posterity. If we don't do this, our future generations are in trouble.
Excellent, thank you very much. Big up. So the event is going to be setting off all the way to the Natural History Museum. But I'm not going to be going down there. What I am doing is just video recording as it leaves. And listen, I know what I'm doing, man. Esther, quick. Esther, only a couple of seconds. You're not hiding from me, are you, Esther? So this is Esther. So I'm trying to get an interview with Esther. And the march is going to be setting off in a minute. Big up. Esther, a couple of seconds, man. Don't be scared.
Yes, family, we are getting ready to move.
So
people. So we're still waiting on this mobility bus before we move off.
So they're waiting on a mobility bus before they can.
Has it come? Tell it, say yes. Here we are. So please stop the Maangamizi banner directly behind the truck, please. Liberty or death banner behind the truck, please.
Liberty or death banner.
Behind those banners.
So in a minute they're going to be setting off. Oh, don't say I don't. Look at the camera.
You want the bus?
Hey, you good?
We're going to talk.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to tap the bus and then.
Yeah. So this is going to be setting off in a few moments. And what I want to do is to catch a few interviews with those involved. And there's the banner, the Stop the Maangamizi banner that will be travelling directly behind the truck. So 2 seconds, sir, 2 seconds. Sir, the truck is now going to be setting off. How are you feeling being at this point?
I'm feeling energized, I'm feeling Africanized, Africated, and ready to do some African move. And that me feel like, right?
Hey! Hey! Big up, big up! Hey, what time you call this, my man? You're late today.
Hi, how are you? You good?
I'm good. What time you call this? You're late. They're setting off in a minute. Last time I interviewed you, you was talking about going back to Africa and going back to your homeland, and then you was 14. You must be 16 or 17 now.
Yeah, I am. I'm 17, yeah.
Have you changed?
I've changed my... I still hold the same view, but I've changed my way of thinking.
But are you as passionate?
Yes.
I want to see some passion. Look into the camera. Give me some of that passion. Talk like you talk, man.
Well, you know what I say? I say, and it's quite simple. Yes, go back to the homeland, but we need a United States of Africa. And that means us having global standing, us being at the center of the leading, because we are the people that brought everybody. So this is where, if you're in Africa, if you're in Jamaica, if you're in the Caribbean, you need to ground. You need, start going back to the cockpit countries, start to understand where you come from. Stop. These people are holding us superior, they're holding themselves superior and holding us inferior. And that needs to change. But we can only do that for ourselves. So this is now to stop the begging. It's really now to stop the begging. And now it's about taking what is yours and taking what is right. And that's what it is. And I stand by it. And I stand by teaching the young people, because it's about the next generation. The Bible that they give us say, young man, I call upon you because you are strong. So you need to talk to your young children and give them the education that they need. And that's where it starts.
I'm so pleased to see you, you know. See you next year. One of the, I used to do it at 13 years old. The most powerful speech ever. Wow.
Right, we're going to move the lorry forward. Brother Cole, where are you? So that more people can come behind. Okay. As we move. Getting ready. All the singers, all the drummers, all the players of instruments. We're here to commit to Maatubuntuman, our future repaired nation. We're here to commit to stopping the Maangamizi.
All right, come on, let's go. Carl, come, let's go.
Of the hands meeting out against our people. So get up and stand up and walk up for your rights.
So good afternoon to all of you watching. Wendell Daniel from Street Mike, coming to you live and direct from Brixton with Stop the Maangamizi March. And they're just setting off now. And as we can see, they're going to be heading all the way down to the Natural History Museum, where artifacts have been stolen from African nations, and they are telling the bastards, we want them back. Big up. So we're now going to be coming to an end of this live stream for you, and we are due to be back live and direct on Sunday at Speaker's Corner from 1 till 6 p.m. where Brother Leo Muhammad from the Nation of Islam will be present. So we're back on Sunday 1 p.m. till 6 p.m. at Speaker's Corner where Brother Leo Muhammad from the Nation of Islam will be present. And I am coming to an end now. This has been great. And as I said, my name is Wendell Daniel from Street Mike, and we are coming to you live and direct from Brixton, and we are just over the road from Windrush Square, where Stop the Maangamizi is just setting off on a long march to the History Museum, where thousands of artifacts have been stolen from African nations. So we are at the end, and all I can say is thank you very much for watching. We will be back on Sunday 1 to 6 p.m. Speaker's Corner, where Brother Leo Muhammad from the Nation of Islam will be in attendance. So that's a Street Mike exclusive, and I'm now going to be locking down because I have to go and look after my grandchildren. So we are ending this live stream. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.